This is Leo again from the Monkeys Making Misplaced channel. Today I'm going to talk about my Blitz CEO Welstra deck. We will be having a game between Welstra and the B Heroes up on the channel hopefully this Friday. We will also be showing the deck profile for B Heroes on Wednesday. And that's probably going to be the schedule we're going to try and aim for. So for currently we're going to be doing a nation fight every week, deck profiling the decks that will be facing off against each other on Friday, and it'll probably be my deck first, and then I'll have either Cat or another guest, whoever has the deck profile. So we've done Dragon Empire with Java, which should have it right here. Right, we have Java, which was playing against Gandiva. I did lose that game, unfortunately. It was a very good game nonetheless. And then this week we're doing Brandgate. Next week we're thinking of either doing Stoicheia or Dark States with Bruce versus Barrow Magnus. We do have this game already recorded. We did have to record the game before we could do the deck profile, so I am doing this after. I already know who wins. Uh, Probably not very surprising, seeing as how we did have Welstra fighting against the B Heroes, but it's a very good game nonetheless. So we'll start with the deck profile now that I've gotten all that away. Ride line, we have just the generic Welstra line, so nothing too creative there. For grade 3s, I have 3 copies of Welstra for Persona Ride, because you want to be able to get that extra 10k, as well as having the ability with one of the units later on being able to grab it for you from the deck, so that's always awesome. Then we have 3 copies of the grade 3 product. I only have 1 FR because, I just love it. I love it being different. Totally my choice. So you can max out on this, but I've found that you only ever want 2 in your order zone, so you only need one spare. But if you feel that maybe you don't want to take the risk of having to lose one, right? There's no way to recycle these really in the deck. You can bump it up to 4 by bumping down Penguin. You can bump this down to 3. He's just so good to pitch. Honestly, even if you don't hit anything, it feels good to not have to. It feels good if you can pitch and get back, or get like the grade 3 product, get like the grade 2 order, any of them. I think in total in this deck I play 4, 5, 6, 9 set orders, which is not a lot, but it's close to a little bit close to a fourth of the deck, right? So you can hit some decent stuff, and because the grade 2 that I'll be showing here next, Operate Monster Freiholt, requires you to pitch a card. It makes it so that even if you do have to pitch, you can still pitch just like a Penguin to him, right? So makes it so the Penguin isn't just good during your ride-up phase. You can still pitch it for Freiholt Field. And this guy is literally the best card in the deck. He allows you to, when placed on rear, if you have a set order, you can counterblast 1, ditch a card, go search your deck for up to 1 card with the same name as your Vanguard. So that would be, your Persona Rides, or a product, which can be your grade 3 product or one of the ones we'll see down the line. And then you add it to your hand. And then if your Vanguard is Welstra specifically, you are allowed to put a set order from your hand into the order zone for free, which lets you get around the once per turn, as well as being able to operate for free. Well, not for free, but very, very, very close. As long as he attacks, if your Vanguard is Welstra, you can Soul Blast 2 to choose a product in your order zone and operate it. And you'll see why I say that this is pretty free later on. Next, we have 4 of the new grade 2 product. This card is so good, it gets you so much advantage. Whenever you play it, as long as your Vanguard has Blitz in its name, you draw a card and Soul Charge 1. And its operate effect is 2 separate ones. If it's operated during your main phase, you will check top 5 and call a unit with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard to rear. But if it's operated during the battle phase, you just draw a card. So, very good. You kind of want to operate this in the early game, and then once you get to later on in the game, you'll be operating the grade 3, which I will talk about now because I've missed talking about it sooner. Sorry, my deck profiling skills are still not the greatest. This cannot be played normally. It has to be put into your order zone by an effect. That is why this card is so key to the deck, because it allows you to cheat this out, right? It can get it into your board earlier, so it works perfectly. And now, its operate effect. Its operate says whenever it's operated, you retire one of your opponent's rear guards, you give their Vanguard -5, and you can counterblast one, to bounce a rear guard, and then call this as a unit. So this just, and it's a 23k body. So this gets through one defensive trigger, and if you're negging your opponent's Vanguard, then that means that it has a higher chance of hitting. All right, and then we have this. This is one of the original products from when Welstra released. It allows you to retire something in the front row, and if you did not retire, you choose one of your Vanguards, one of your opponent's Vanguards, and give it -5. The reason I play this is because you can get it from the ride deck. You'll get it from this guy, right? And he'll allow you to just put it into the order zone. And then this says if whenever your Vanguard is ridden on top by a grade 3, it lets you search for the grade 3 and cheat it out into play. So it'll get you the grade 3 if you're not able to get it with the grade 2 previously mentioned. Then on to grade 1s, we have 4 Bulbamine. This deck eats Soul and it eats Counterblast. You need all 4. Then we have 2 Blitz Mechanic Iskra. She lets you operate a product as long as you haven't operated it once that turn, and all it costs is a Counterblast and resting her, right? So sometimes you can just get her effect early on in the game to operate something like the Assault Flight Carrier, just to maybe make a board if you don't have the units. Maybe you don't have enough cards. She'll let you, get a rear guard. And then probably the greatest addition to this deck after Freiholt is Mobile Kennel Eingarten. This dog is so good. It's the reason that this deck, I think, can maybe see some competitive success. Hit says that whenever this card is put from hand or order zone into drop during your turn, you can put this card into order zone or soul, right? And then you're able to get this with the grade 1 from the right deck. It'll get you a grade 1 product whenever it's written by a grade 2, right? So that'll just happen. It can also, whenever it's operated, be called as a normal unit with boost to an open rear guard, but that effect never really comes into handy, and I'll talk about it once I'm just kind of explaining the strategy of this deck a little bit later on. We have 4 PGs because you need them. I still don't have the Blitz order, so can't use it. We have the Brant OT, 2 fronts, 3 draws. When we have 6 crits and 4 heals. This deck, I believe, has the most room into what you want to play. Fronts are good because you can give extra power, right? And if you're negging your opponent's Vanguard and then giving your front row an extra 10k, it can be devastating, right? Your Vanguard, your opponent's Vanguard could be -15, and your front row can get +10. Sometimes you want to draw more cards, right? So extra draws, and then crits, so put on that pressure. This isn't set in stone, honestly. You could probably change a lot of this. This trigger lineup is very meta, like it depends on what your local meta is, right? Like especially the heal triggers as well. You can see that they're not really that thought out or like that worked out that well, right? Because you kind of need to know what you're playing against. This deck does require you to kind of think a little bit more of how you play the game and stuff. So the triggers aren't set in stone, so don't believe that. All right, and then for the general strategy of this deck, right? We'll say kind of explain some of the combos this deck can have because they're just so important to. It's just very important to that you know kind of what you're supposed to do because you don't want to make any errors, right? So writing from grade 1 to grade 2 will allow you to get Kennel from the deck, right? And you'll put Kennel into the order zone. Let me move these down because the glare up here is awful, right? And then you'll play something like this to maybe get you a draw, get you a soul. Then you'll go to grade 3, you'll put Kennel into drop, right? And then that'll let you go search for this to, guarantee that next turn. This is the what you'll go off of with the grade 2 unless you have the two maximums already in hand. But if you don't, then this is your choice. If you already have the two on in set order, you can just go for another copy of this to get some more draw, some more soul, right? But most commonly, you'll go for this, put it into the order zone, and then the mobile kennel will go into soul here, right? Then you will play free health, get yourself a copy of this, put it into order zone, then another one, get a copy of this, put it into order zone. You probably will do this over the course of your first grade 3 turn, right? Or your second. You don't have to put as much pressure in this because this does eat a lot of CB. You kind of want to have as much CB as you can, so if you can, get a Bulbamine or two, right? It'll be great for this. And now, what you do is you'll attack with the Freiheit, use its effect. You'll Soul Blast 2, which will be Kennel and the starter. Operating the grade 3 if you want to just nag, or operating this to just draw a card, whichever one you feel is most important to you at the moment, right? And then you will use the effect of Kennel that says whenever it's put from Order Zone or Soul into drop, you're allowed to put it into Order Zone or Soul to put it back, right? Then you will attack with the other one, same effect again, right? Both to drop or Soul Blast those two. Operating this time using the Counterblast to bounce this, call that, and then you will again put this into Soul, right? And then you will attack with your Vanguard. Again, this time operating this, bouncing it, and using a CB to call it, right? And now your Vanguard has gained at least a minimum of plus 15 because there's been 3 operates this turn, and your opponent's Vanguard has lost 15k, right? And you still have 2 more attacks, right? And you're also able to hold on to both of your Freiheit, as well as keeping Soul to at least operate once next turn, right? That's why I believe this mobile kennel is so good. I don't know if you want to play more than one of this. There's really no way to get it out guaranteed besides the ride line. But it is a very good card. So maybe if you want to cut like a penguin down, right? Let's say this deck does play 4 penguin. So if you believe that cutting it is better than, let me move these out of the way, right? Let's say you don't feel like 4 penguin is worth it. You could always cut 1 penguin for another copy of the kennel, or if you want to play the full 4 copies of maximum, you can play the full 4 copies, right? Either or would be, I would think that's a smart play if you believe that maybe you want to get these more often. Maybe you don't want to use soul at all. So if you can get 2 of these mobile kennels in there, it'll work. So there's just really no way to get this into soul outside of the ride line. So that's my main concern, right? You'll have a hard time getting rid of this, which can be a little bit annoying because there's no way for you to put this into drop by any effect really. But yeah, this deck is very fun. You get to do a lot of plays during your turn. it feels like you're doing things. You're operating, right? You're using products and stuff. It's a very fun deck. It's one of my favorite brand decks, favorite brand gate decks. I primarily play Brant, so this is one of my favorite all-time Brant decks. So it being probably one of my favorite to play outside of like Orfist, is pretty fun. Excuse me. So this has been Leo from the Monkeys Making This Place channel. Please expect more from us. We're trying to get a consistent upload schedule up and running. It's just a little rough right now because, I work, 9 to 6 every day, 9 to 7, and so does my buddy Kat, right? And I have to do the editing and I have to do, recording and stuff, and I'm trying to set up all this stuff. But we're trying to, make a, a name for us, for ourselves. Hopefully we can, provide some content that some people like. If there's any feedback on the gameplay videos, we would much appreciate it. We don't really know what's a good uh, angle for them. It's also like, would you like to hear the voices of us playing, or maybe you just enjoy the music? You don't want to like hear us at all. Maybe just commentary over it would be interesting as well. Uh, you know, whatever you guys think would work. We're more than open to feedback. So that'll be the end of this deck profile, and thank you again for watching.